starting basic, but we're gonna go word problems after this, okay? So don't get too comfortable. But this is actually on page 4. Uh, Sine law, guys, you always wanna be able to somehow find a known pair. And by that I mean somehow come up with two numbers like that are opposite each other. So for example, if you have an angle here, let's say this is 40 degrees, and you have the length of the side across from it, bingo, that's sine law. Sine law guaranteed, okay? These are obvious. These two cases are obvious. What was special about this one? This is not so obvious because you know the two angles here on either side of the known side. So you have to find that third angle and then you have a pair. But the idea is for sine law to work, you need a known pair, okay? So let's go to page 6. I know I assigned this. I'll do 1 or 2 questions here, and then I'll move on to the next part, okay? So you look at this triangle here. There's a lot of things going on. But one thing, it's like, okay, I have that pair, right? Sure. So we go, I always put sine of 132. Well, I will warn you, I see this a lot. Some students just put 132 without the sine, okay? But an angle in general needs to be glued to sine or cosine, okay? They need to be together. So you take that divided by 1794.3 meters, and then we go equals. It's going to be a bit tight here. Which side can I solve for as it stands right now? Can I solve for this one or this one? Which one should I pick? Z, right? Because why is that? Because I know the angle, this angle is across the side I'm trying to find. So it's sine of 15 over side Z. So it's just a lowercase letter like that. Okay. And then you cross multiply and divide. So 1794.3, I'll take this number and multiply it by sine of 15. No more SOHCAHTOA, okay? I don't talk about it in this course because some students revert back to it and then we're in trouble on the exam, right? So you go ahead and do this if you haven't done this already. Most of you are probably like, yeah, I did this already at home, so I know what I'm doing. Okay, that's good. That's what you want to get there. And I'll do one more here. Once you have that side, okay, now you're good to go. If you want to solve for this side, you first need to find that angle, which is no problem because we've got two angles. So I'm going to go angle X is 180 minus 132 minus 15. When you do that, you get 33 degrees. Okay. Once you have that 33, right? Once you have that 33, you start with the pair. I would always say start with this pair that you started with, that you were provided with. Although, watch carefully, you actually have another pair now, right? You've got side Z, you've got this angle, so you could use that if you wanted to, but I'm not, because if I made a mistake, it's going to come with me, right? So I'm going to go 132 over 1794.3, and then sine of 33 over side X, right? And then you show me the work. You multiply across, you divide by sine of 32, 132. And side X, you're supposed to get 1315.01 meters. Always round to 2 decimals, even your angles, okay? It could be that your teachers last year always made you round to a whole number. not in grade 12. Like the provincial exam will want you to go to 2 decimals. There's a lot of teachers that are pushing for them to change that rule to just keep it to a whole degree, because quite frankly, you can't tell the difference, right, between 0.2 or 0.3 or whatever. Most of us we would just measure to the nearest degree on the field. But until then, we round to 2 decimals. Okay, so this is sine law involving sides. Okay, side length. Another thing I want you to check, look up here real quick. Please make sure your answer is reasonable. So I don't know if you remember this, but the largest angle is always across the longest side, always. Okay, and the smallest angle is across the shortest side. Right? So if you do your work, this is the smallest angle, it's 15 degrees. It should have the shortest side across from it, which is true, right? And 132 is the longest or largest angle, longest side across from it, so it checks out, right? So sometimes little things like that can, prevent you from making a mistake or catching a mistake, right? Okay, let's keep going. Yeah, thank you. Page 7. I'm going to show you now how to solve for an angle, okay, using the sine law. Page 7. Okay, so slightly different here. Maybe I'll just highlight that. We're going to calculate the angle measure using sine law. You will notice that it's the same setup, okay? It's the same idea at first. Not cosine law is going to be a little different, okay? There are two different formulas. Do you notice up here? You should. This angle is across that side, right? So you've got angle side. You've got up here. Use sine law. Don't even try cosine law, okay? I'll give you different scenarios, but really if you're able to see this, you're done. You know it's sine law. If it's not this, it's cosine law. As simple as that. So no SOHCAHTOA, right? Like there you have 3 cases. Here you just have 2. Okay, let's start with the pair that we have. Sine of 81 degrees over 123.2 meters. You start like that, just like before. Equals. And you can tell, even without me asking you, I did ask you to solve for angle A or C. The only option you have here is to solve for that angle, because you have this side. It's always in pairs. So we're going to put the side length down here. And up here, do not put just A. Remember I told you it has to kind of mimic your first proportion. So it's sine of A, like that. Anybody remember how to find the angle using a calculator? You remember the inverse function? Well, I'll show you in a bit. So this is your variable, okay? So you cross multiply this way and you divide going down. Okay, that's how it goes. So you write down, make sure you write down sine of A, not just A. And we're going to go 91.6 times sine of 81 divided by 123.2. And I will put that number right next to it here. So grab your calculators. This is good practice. This is the unit where I would say you get your own, because it's going to make life a lot easier. So 91.6 times sine of 81. I hit equals there. Divide by 123.2. And I will actually use a red pen for this one. You want this to always start with a 0. Okay? If you plug in numbers and your number does not start with a 0, you are going to get a math error, or your calculator is going to complain. Okay? So watch this. Do not clear this number. Okay? I want to use all decimals. If you want to get full marks, you want to just say, write down a couple of digits, go dot, dot, dot. That's indicating that we're going to use all decimals on our calculator. So here we go. This is the final step. Because earlier this would have been it. Now, to find angle A, we use the inverse function. Okay, it's sine -1 like that. That's the inverse of whatever I got there, which starts with a 0. Very important. I won't do that every time. Okay, 7, 3, 4, 3, dot, dot, dot. So notice that it's still on my calculator. So all I have to do is I have to go shift and then press sine, because if I do that, I call the inverse function and then I just hit equals and I get 47.25. If you are not able to get this, let me know. I'll come and help you. It might be your calculator that's a little different. Okay? So some of you, I'll just come and see you because I can't cover all calculators right now. But some of you might have to do it in a different order. We'll figure it out. Okay? Just let me know. All right, so that's done. This is the angle. So it's a little bit more work, in particular this step right here. Maybe let's highlight that, right? I want to see that step when you're solving, okay? And I can tell you this, if you're gonna have to find an angle, you have to use inverse. You have to use that, okay? Okay, it says now, the question says, calculate the length of side C. It asks us to solve angle C as well. Let's do that next door here. Angle C, now that you have two angles, you've got this one and the one they gave you, we're going to go 180 minus 81 minus this one that we just found, 47.25. Okay. $51.75. Clearly indicate label. Right, now we have all angles solved. We just need to find solve for one more side, which is side C. Recall yesterday, I'm going to go back to my diagram. If this is angle C, then side C is assumed to be across from it like that. Okay, so we're going to solve for this side. Okay, let's do this. And I'll give you some time to work on it. So I'm going to start with the same pair as before. Sine of 81 over 123.2. And if I want side C, I better have sine of angle C up here, which I know. This is angle C right here, 51.75. Now we're back to yesterday's scenario where you do not need to worry about the inverse. It's just cross multiply and divide, right? 97.96, because the 7 bumps the 5 to a 6, and we are in meters. So units and variables, make sure you include them in your work. Okay. So now you basically have all three pairs are known now, right? That's basically what solving a triangle means to us. Simple as that. So don't get too comfortable, because once we do word problems, right, then you're still going to apply this over and over again. Okay. Finding angles, finding sides, and so forth. So I want you to try. You're going to go to page 8. And let me just see here if I want you to solve the whole thing or just the side. Yeah, just solve for what the question is asking you. Okay, so for A, it's asking you for that angle A. For B, it's asking you for angle H. And for C, it's asking you for two things, the angle and the side. Okay, so see if you can do that. Instead of an AC, this is now just you practicing this, trying this on page 8, okay? And if you have calculator issues, I'll come and help you. I'll give you the answers so you can, I'll just put them at the top here. Then you're going to have to decide which law do I use. Okay? You're going to lay down the law. Right. Page 9, if you don't mind. Page 9. This is a very important concept, because you can't just randomly grab some values and hope for the best, right? You need to know what you're doing. The province, I asked again when I went training for the last semester, and I asked, are they going to continue to provide us with diagrams? And they said yes. But sometimes the diagrams are not 100% filled in. So you're going to have to fill in information from time to time. Okay. So the nice thing is that most of them do have diagrams, but just be prepared for there not being a diagram. We'll cover some of those scenarios. So everything is already there, 2.5 kilometers between the houses. A surveyor uses this apparatus, right? Have you ever seen those on the street? Right, one person is holding a stick or a rod, and somebody else is kind of like looking through this. So anyways, that they're surveying, they're finding out the slope of the land and stuff like that, the distance. And so as shown in the diagram, I don't like that they tell you this, but hey, we're in sine law after all. Can't do cosine law yet, but it's saying basically what I wanted to say is just determine the distance from Elliot's house to the tower, right? So they want from here to here. This is that's what we're after. Okay. This is the hidden pair. I don't know if you understand that. You need to figure this out first. So let's call this angle C. Okay, angle C is going to be found by going 180 minus 65 minus 80, and that is 35 degrees. This is important, right? So now we can put the 35 in here. Now we have our pair. At first glance, it seemed like it wasn't going to be a pair, but there you have it, right? So we're going to go sine of 35 degrees over 2.5 kilometers. Don't mix up numbers, okay? I do see mixing up from time to time, so be very careful. And now you have to pick which one of these two angles are you going to choose. And the answer is 80, because 80 is the angle across the side that you want to find. Because remember, they always go in pairs, like across each other. So there we go. Okay. So you have the setup, you solve. You can just omit the units while you're solving. That's fine, as long as your final answer has what it's supposed to have. And this gives you 4.29. What are we in? Kilometers, yeah. Bingo. So usually this is like a 3-mark question on the provincial exam. They give you 1 mark for this. They give you 1 mark for identifying that it's sine law, and then 1 mark for solving. So 3 marks. It's actually quite a bit. Most questions on the provincial are worth 2 marks. 1, 2, right? So if you get a 3 marker, make sure you get it right. It adds up. What is up with this one? Let's try this one. A pulley in a shop. This is page 10. Suspended from a ceiling to support chains. One of the chains is 2.4. We have it right there. And forms at 55 with a ceiling. So there we have it. What would this angle be called? Elevation or depression? Be a depression, right? This is between the horizontal and the line going down, right? So keep that in mind. 3.5 meters long is the second chain, so it's like off-centered, of course. Again, I don't want it to tell you that it's the sine law, but for now, that's all we know anyways. Determine the size of the angle that the second chain makes with the ceiling. So this is the one they want here, right? That's our question mark. We're going to call this, give it a letter. There's no letter there. So that's what we're after. So we do have our pair, right? So starting tomorrow, there may not be a pair. But for now, they all do. So you know it's sine law, right? So sine of 55 over 3.5 meters. We're not going to go nearest degree. We're going to go 2 decimals. Sine of A over 2.4. And so sine of A, a lot of you are skipping this one step that I'm about to show you. So don't skip it. Okay. So I allow you to go, you can go this is equal to this, which is equal to, it's going to be, it has to start with a 0 or else you're in trouble. Okay. It's, there we go, 0.5617, and that keeps going. So this is the step that a lot of you are skipping. Okay, so you want to get rid of sine, therefore you need to take the inverse of the other side. Okay, it's like taking the square root of both sides, right? Whatever you do to one side, you got to do to the other. So this is the step that I would like to see. And now you go shift sine equals 34.17 degrees. I won't say this is always easy, but I think if you practice, you can do well in this unit. Okay. There's 11 and 12 as well as 13. Page 13 has 2 questions. I'm going to leave 11 and 12 in your hands there. You're probably going to have some time to do it today. You have to read the questions carefully, because sometimes I ask you for more than just solving an angle. Sometimes it's like, what's the total distance traveled? Let's go to 13 real quick. Page 13. Before you work, you'll have for sure 15 minutes left. Page 13. Okay, draw then solve the following triangles. I just want you to sketch it, right? So it says triangle ABC has an angle. This is a side, right? If it's just two letters, it's a side and another side. So before you start wondering, just do this, okay? I really don't care what it looks like. I will draw my triangle, but I will make it off-centered, okay? Oops. Slightly off-centered. You go like that. And then you just start, I usually start in this corner. I go A, B, C. And then it's expected that you would know that if this is angle A, then side A goes there. Angle B, side B. Angle C, side C. And now fill in with information. It says B, angle B is 78 degrees. So you just go up here and just insert the 78. Side AC is 8.78 kilometers. AC is right along the bottom here. So I'm just going to transfer that 8.78 right here. And BC, from here to here, that's 4.57. So we're going to go 4.57 kilometers. This is just to help you visualize this and then solve. So you can see that there's a pair, correct? You see the pair? You didn't see that earlier, did you? But now you do, right? So now you can go ahead and solve for everything else. You can solve for angle A, angle C, side C, okay? The only triangle that we cannot solve in this course is one that gives you all three angles. Angle, 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 we cannot solve that one. Everything else, we can solve in this course, all right? So you go ahead, pages, what did I say? 11 to 13, basically. I'll leave it in your hands. Just work through everything. I'll post the key in a bit.